I strongly predict that as long as this particular issue is not resolved, Netflix's anime content will continue to be quite boring. With Netflix original works, it seems like they simply buy them out. So both the directors and the production companies are essentially treated like slaves. That's precisely why everyone basically thinks of Netflix's projects as something to just get through and then move on from. Yasu-san, this is from a teenage male, from YouTube. His friends told him he is an otaku for liking movies and anime. In Introduction to Otaku Studies, otaku are described as having advanced reference abilities, while people who just like movies or anime are referred to as maniacs or fans. So, what does it mean to be an otaku in the modern day? Yeah, it's like the definition of otaku, right? I think being an otaku is all about, actually persisting with it or something. So, basically, when you're around 15 or 20 years old, your characteristics don't really stand out. You might have strong likes, but your unique traits don't show much. But after you turn 20, I think you start to gradually differ from others due to accumulated experiences. Everyone has their own unique ideas and perspectives. For example, those Netflix original dramas? They're pretty interesting, like Alice in Borderland. I'm watching Alice in Borderland and it's interesting. So, while the dramas are quite good, why doesn't anime work as well? There's actually a reason for that. Yes, there's a reason, so you'll undoubtedly understand moving forward. I specifically predict this. As long as this reason isn't resolved, I think Netflix's anime will continue to be boring. Actually, last year in 2020, I indeed received consultation sessions from several anime companies. They were asked by Netflix if they could come up with some projects, but they were hesitant. And the reason is because Netflix's anime, all the rights absolutely belong to Netflix. Netflix takes all the rights, resulting in absolutely nothing for the director or the screenwriter. The production company has absolutely no rights. And of course, the same goes for the director and the screenwriter and also the animator. Voice actors also have absolutely no rights. In Japanese anime, it's common for creators and the production team to have absolutely no rights. But when making sequels, it's normal to use the same staff and voice actors. So even though they have absolutely no rights in Japanese anime, the flow of staff or whatever you call it, it's pretty well maintained that this belongs to the staff. So like with Kemono Friends, when they tried to change the director for the sequel, it caused a huge uproar. That's normal. But Netflix isn't like that. With Netflix originals, it's more like they buy out the project, so both the directors and production companies are treated like slaves. That's why everyone basically thinks of Netflix projects as something to just get done and over with. Truly interesting projects are not submitted to Netflix. So, they formally and officially announce it in a way that ensures they hold the rights themselves. That's why I can't mention specific titles, but you often see top-tier directors creating anime that seems like it would be extremely popular, right? The reason for that is because Netflix holds all the rights. It's like they leave behind projects that are, people try to make a profit from the production budget. Everyone does. So, when they really want to create works that they genuinely want to do and that seem like they could sell in the long term, they make them with their own team. To earn the production cost for that, on Netflix, they think about making something with an easy format that gets decent reviews and making a profit within the production budget. That's just how people end up thinking. So I think that's why there are so many of those kinds of works. Yes, there was an interview in Media Business, that online magazine, the online magazine. So, Netflix's anime producer, Mr. Sakurai, answered. The question was, when Netflix holds 100% of the rights, it seems like the role of anime studios in the planning process diminishes. They asked directly. In response, Netflix's anime representative, Mr. Sakurai, who is the chief producer of anime, replied, "That's not the case at all. The studios we work with don't feel that way. Studio representatives and directors always participate in meetings, and it's not a simple client-contractor relationship where we place orders for completed projects." So, you see, this person named Mr. Sakurai is indeed quite famous for meddling significantly with the content. Basically, he very strongly meddles with the content he thinks will be very successful in America. And when that happens, from the perspective of the production company, what happens is that Netflix producers keep interfering with the content, making the anime they want, but we have zero rights. If we don't concede here, then shouldn't we just make a work that can profit within this production budget? You end up thinking about it, right? So, in the case of dramas, this method is okay, right? Whether it's a private TV drama or NHK's Tiger drama, buying the rights is already a given. The reason for this is that, unlike anime, in dramas, there hasn't been much history of making profits later through things like DVD sales. Instead, it's been more common to produce programs within the TV station's budget and make dramas that way. Moreover, that's why there's not much resistance to the Netflix-style method in dramas, right? But Japanese anime production companies, ever since the era of Osamu Tezuka's Astro Boy, have been working with extremely minimal production costs, believing that if they create a hit, they can make a huge, substantial profit later through copyrights and merchandising. Many of them approach anime production like buying a lottery ticket. That's why they don't fall for Netflix's proposal to buy all their content and make them work like slaves. So, in my personal view, many have switched to a strategy of making money with low-effort projects, ultimately in the long run. Yeah, so actually the thing is, the Netflix anime team very quickly and very firmly negotiated with America, reporting that if they don't actually recognize the rights for anime, Japanese people won't seriously make it. They think the entire strategy should be changed. Also, they very strongly and firmly believe Netflix should create its own studio, like Disney or Pixar, hire top-notch and highly skilled animators and directors, and distribute company shares within that studio. Well, if we don't do it that way, the budget will just keep going up, and only ordinary works will come out, and I think the current situation will continue indefinitely. So, in response to Yasuo's question about what an otaku is, this is my perspective, which is the mindset of an otaku. It's perfectly fine to just like what you like. It's perfectly fine, but if you keep doing it for years and decades, it becomes intertwined with your life experience like this. You'll be able to comprehend it better indeed. That renders animation even more interesting and profound, I think. Yeah, the definition of otaku is difficult to pin down for any era or generation, so I believe that otaku is something that continues, and I think otaku have a unique perspective and ideas